everybody.
Hi.
So this week we are going to so when we got first came over today, my daughter was making some homemade mac and cheese because she was bugging me to make her some, and I'm like, you're big enough,
You know what you're doing.
you do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was there to make sure nothing bad happened. And so we started having a conversation about kids and doing, like, as they get older, doing more for themselves. And I'm like, wait, we should record this and continue our conversation. So we're going to do that. That is our topic for today.
Yeah. And our kids are about the same age, right?
Yeah.
13. 13? How old is Tisha?
Should be 13 in a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, same age. So what we were talking about, like I said, Tisha was making herself some homemade mac and cheese, and then Renata started talking about her son, how he is refusing to do that stuff. So talk about that, because that's where we ended our conversation.
I suspect that a certain portion of his refusal to do so is manipulation, attempt to and get what he wants to eat, like fast food wise. But he's saying that he's worried about the stove, which when he was younger, makes sense to me. But I've gone through step by step meal prep of 3 of his favorite dishes with him, so he knows the steps backwards and forwards. He knows the tips and tricks.
Yeah.
He's just refusing.
Yeah. And that's what Tisha was doing at first.
Yeah.
And so I started just refusing to do it for her.
Yeah, and she was kind of a little bit complaining about, I don't know what to do. I mean, you were just telling her, yes, you do, and or giving her like little reminder cues, and she was fine. I think she really actually enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. After the initial shock of, I have to do something for myself.
Yeah.
Happens. Then yeah, she's got no problem. She got it down pat. So she made homemade mac and cheese. Just super simple, right? You boil the noodles, you boil a little bit of milk with some flour, put the cheese in it, there's your sauce, right? Nice, easy peasy. And we had done it together lots of times. Lots of times. And so I knew that she knew what she was doing. And so when she asked for it, so what happened, the reason I didn't make it for her was because my tummy wasn't feeling good. And I didn't want to stand up over the stove and be cooking.
Yeah, you were feeling well. Yeah.
So I was like, I will cook you something else that just pops in the oven and I don't have to stand there. I'll make you up some fish or chicken nuggets or whatever. Something that I don't need to stand there and do. But she only wanted mac and cheese. So, do it yourself.
Sounds familiar.
Right?
Yeah.
So, where does that line come for kids? Like, obviously, every kid is different, but, like, being 13-ish, I'll say ish, because she's almost there.
Yeah.
For us, and our kids have neurodiversities, right? Like, they're high functioning, but they're there. Just so a typical kid, I know Cass, my older one, she was probably cooking stuff for herself.
At this age.
Definitely at this age. Maybe a little bit younger. Yeah. Like grilled cheese and stuff.
Yeah.
Probably in grade 7, right? Because she'd come home for lunch sometimes. The school's right around the corner. Make yourself a little grilled cheese. And I remember doing that when I was in
that
grade
age.
7, 8.
Yeah. I think that, for my son anyway, I think that a certain amount of his trepidation is understandable or justifiable. Yeah. However, I think the majority of it is, I don't want to do it. I want you to do it, Mom.
Tastes better when you do it.
Which is such a horse.
I still use that one. When I don't want to get up, I'll look at my husband. But it tastes so much better when you scoop the ice cream.
Does he laugh?
He kind of rolls his eyes and he's like,
all right,
fine.
Whatever. Yeah.
But it's not like I'm saying go do it in the middle of something else that you're doing. I'm like, hey, you're getting yourself a bowl, so
come on. I think for both of us, we're concerned about our kids having skills that they need to be on their own, so we want to start them on this kind of stuff.
Exactly. Well, that's why I liked when you said that you took them step by step through everything, right? Because doing that, and that's what we did with making, like, she can make fish now by herself. She makes the homemade mac and cheese by herself, or boxed mac and cheese, that's easy too. And obviously noodles, ravioli, that's microwave stuff, but like real stuff on the oven, right? She can actually do now.
Yeah.
She's still concerned though when she makes hash browns. And I don't know why.
With the actual, yeah.
No, just like frozen hash browns, and you toss them in the
Is
pan
there
and
concern
fry
about
them
the
up.
heat of, on the stove?
Yeah.
Stove top?
I think she doesn't...
She just doesn't know if they're ready.
Maybe. I'm not sure. That or...
That's the thing too, is our kids both have these peculiar anxieties that we can't always pinpoint.
Exactly.
And so we're trying to understand them, but we can't always.
Yeah, because before she used to complain that, but when I mix them up, it gets too hot. But when you're making the cheese sauce, it's hot in your face and you're stirring it, right? So it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Doggies are barking. So it's kind of, what is the reasoning when you can clearly use the stove for other things, but why is this one particular thing so difficult?
Suddenly so difficult, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess as parents, we just have to remember that just because they can do one thing doesn't always transfer over, even though we think it should, because it makes sense that it would, doesn't always in their head.
Right, and if you're tired, or if you're thinking, you make assumptions based on your own abilities.
Yeah.
Like before me, she was stirring the pasta, and she said, I think you said to her, you have to make sure it doesn't stick or whatever.
Yeah.
Put the spoon in, and she said, I don't know how. And you said you just put it in to the bottom and you mix it up because you don't want the pasta to stick. And she said, how do I know if I'm at the bottom, right?
Yes.
These are things that if we were short on patience, or if we were forgetting ourselves for a moment, we might have been like, it's the bottom, right?
Yeah, exactly, right?
But you showed her, and you said you hear it touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then when you were doing something, and she asked me for help, and I did the same thing with her. But yeah. I think the key is to remember that our kids are very unique.
Yes.
And that even if we feel like I've told you this 65 times, we might have to do it 66, 67, and 68 times.
Yeah, exactly.
With patience.
Yeah, that's
patience.
the key.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a good point. I forgot that I did that entirely because it was just something that you do. But we think, go stir the noodles, but how do you get to the bottom? How do you make sure that they stick?
And if you had said, and if you had been like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? A little bit impatient, a little bit exasperated, a little bit assuming. It could have gone
much
off
worse.
the deep end. Yeah.
Totally.
She would have felt chastised and judged.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Even when she goes to make fish sometimes, right? So it's you stick it in the oven and then halfway you flip it. Sometimes, even though we've gone through it a whole bunch of times and she's made it herself, and she can read the package too if she really wanted to. But sometimes she'll forget. She'll be like, how long do I put it in for again? I'll be like, 15 minutes. Okay. And then she's fine. But it's just that, so if I was exasperated, I'm like, come on, we've been through this a million times, right? That forgetfulness is there.
It's part, And I think as they get older, as they mature, they seem better adaptable with certain things, better able to handle certain things. So I think that we can sometimes make assumptions.
Yeah.
Or think like you should know this.
Well, because sometimes if we don't, then that lazy part comes in, they'll play it up.
Yeah. There's a fine line, right? Fine line that we walk.
Yeah, exactly. We have to make sure that we're helping them, but at the same time calling them out on their bullshit.
Yes, and I think above all, we have to remember to be constructive with any criticism, whether it's perceived or real.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I think looking back, looking back 2 years ago even, I would not have been like, go ahead, go cook on the stove. I would have been like, I'm coming!
Yeah, don't even touch that.
Exactly. It's hot, right?
And you're going to burn yourself and you're going to whatever,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we also have to remember that even though at one age, it doesn't matter what age, so for her 2 years ago, right, being 10, it could be if your kid is 13, it could be your kid is 16, doesn't matter what age, your kid could be 21 and you still are like, no, you're not ready yet.
Yeah.
But remember that they still can become ready. Never assume that this is their forever.
Yeah, and haven't we talked about, I don't know if we've talked about it or not, but like when we make them feel as though they can't do a thing before they've even tried, we're it's not helicoptering, but we're making them,
We're self-sabotaging them.
Yeah, we're sabotaging them, and they're gonna lack confidence in their own abilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned it. We haven't done a whole podcast on it, but we've touched on it and stuff.
And again, it's a fine line. It's a fine line because there is a certain portion or part of the personality that wants us to take care of them and make sure that they're okay and do stuff for them.
For sure.
But yeah, it is a fine line.
Yeah, because ultimately, I think every parent can agree, we want our kids to grow up and move out.
Yeah.
Leave the nest.
Grow up, get self-sufficient, and get out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love you,
Yeah.
but you need to leave.
Yeah.
So it's giving them those life skills, but taking it at a slow pace that works for them.
Yeah.
If you go too fast, then they're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get overwhelmed. And it's not going to work out well. So just remember that their here and now is not their forever.
Yeah.
And when they do accomplish something as simple as, I remember when the first time she made herself a bagel, right? Just using the toaster, right? Which was a big deal because the toaster is hot. And actually what I did from the Pampered Chef, and other people probably have this too, but I got wood little tongs.
Yeah.
So that she wouldn't burn her fingers.
So she could.
Exactly. So a really easy, simple solution. I think it cost me like $5.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then I remember the first time she made herself a bagel out of the toaster, buttered it up herself, everything, and I did a happy dance.
Yeah.
Because that was a huge thing.
Yeah.
But at that time, it wasn't, hey, let's push for you to cook everything yourself.
Yeah.
It was, awesome. So now when you ask me for toast, I know I don't need to do it for you.
You can handle it.
Right?
Yeah.
So remembering what they can do and what they need to learn to do. I don't want to say what they can't do because that doesn't sound right. What they can't do in this moment, what they need to learn to be able to do.
Right.
It's like at the gym. Whenever somebody says, oh, I can't do this, it's too hard, I go, no, that means you need to try harder and you need to practice it.
You can't do it yet. Growth mindset.
Exactly. I don't accept the word can't. It's not a thing.
And Randy's a trainer, so you can see behind us. Wait, is it?
There you go.
There
There you go.
I'm sorry, I'm all backwards. I'm not used to this.
Yeah, no, I'll flip
so
around. I love it.
yeah, so that's what she's talking about. You got that mindset, which is good.
Yeah, that's what you need in life in general, but you know, with parenting and all that stuff. So, any final thoughts on this topic of remembering that our kids will grow and we can teach them different things? And
I think key is to watch your expectations.
Oh yeah.
Readjust your expectations. And also watch the shoulds. By now you should.
That's a really good point.
Watch those.
Yeah, that's a really good one because we don't know we can assume what they should do, but just like, well, you should know the bottom of the pot.
Right, or right, exactly.
It took me all of 2 seconds to show her what it was.
Yeah,
so instead of getting upset because you should.
Yeah, exactly.
Take the time. Take a breath. And take the time. I like that point. That's awesome. All right, so that's
that.
That. If you ever have any topics that you want us to talk about, if you're like, hey, does your kids also do whatever? We're pretty much open books.
Oh yeah,
because we wrote a book. And let us know. Send us an email at empowermentcoaches@gmail.com or comment on the video or podcasts because we always turn the videos into podcasts now. It's our new thing.
We have a Facebook page
We have a Facebook page, Empowerment Coaches. So if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to the page.
Please.
And if you're listening to this on your podcast, make it one of your favorites.
Please.
Awesome. And actually, want to grab the book over there?
Where is it? Here it is.
So on October 26th, I'm right? October 26th?
Yes, October 26th.
October 26th at the Kohl's in the Seaway Mall in Welland. Renata and I will be signing our book, and you can buy it. So if anything that we've ever talked about kind of is like, oh man, that's awesome, I want to know more of the story, there's the story.
It's in the book.
It's in the book.
As well as in the back of the book we have resources.
Yes, things that we wish we would have known.
Yeah.
Because doctors always tend to ask the same sort of sets of questions or things
and then look at you like you are lacking
common knowledge, I guess.
Parts when you can't answer.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
When did your child start walking? Exactly, like to the day. Well, you know, she's 11 now, so 9-ish months, 10-ish months, right? Like,
yeah.
No, but exactly when.
And you might think in your head, I will never forget the milestones of my children. I will never forget when this such and such first happened. The fact of the matter is you might. So
Yeah.
write it down, and anyway, we have resources that I really like.
Exactly.
In the back of
I
the book.
enjoy them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. I hope to see some people out to Kohl's on the 26th from 1 to 4.
From 1 to
I guess
4.
I should mention that too.
Yeah.
All right. Yay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.